Morning, everyone. It's Sharnee. I just wanted to do a really quick video about attraction marketing on Facebook. Okay, so it's sort of been an issue that I've been seeing come up with some of my coaching colleagues, people that are selling coaching services, and they're just not sure how to market themselves online. And I'm just seeing some really interesting, really interesting behavior. And I just really wanted to talk about how I suggest people do it, so that if that's of any help or benefit to you guys, that you can apply some of these concepts and strategies to your business, so that you can get more clients, more leads, more outcomes, more results, and ultimately everyone lives happily ever after. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen for this one. And just talk about some distinctions. Okay, so this concept is around attraction marketing or influencer marketing. Okay, and as a concept, it's really like the difference between pushing your marketing, pushing onto people, versus pulling onto people, right? So I personally prefer the pulling method. Because I think it's more effective, and I just want to talk to you about how powerful this is. Pulling onto people, so pulling people towards you is more actually the thing. Put towards you, and pushing onto people is the opposite of that. Okay, so between those two things, these are, you're going to be doing one or the other, right? You're going to be pushing onto people, or you're going to be pulling. Now, what's an example of pushing onto people? Okay, pushing onto people is an example of going up to them first. All right, so say you're at a party or a networking event, or you're maybe cold calling on people, you're door knocking, you're you're just basically heading towards that person first and initiating our conversation very randomly and saying, hey, are you interested in what I'm doing? Right now, this is the problem with this approach, is it's highly random, right? So your chances of actually getting a match here, chances of getting a match with a client here is low. Getting a match of getting a client, okay, it's much lower, because you're just sort of randomly going around and saying, hey, do you want my stuff, or something like that. Now take this to an online platform. What does this look like? Okay, this means messaging people cold on Facebook, right? So you don't know these people and you're messaging them and saying, hey, are you interested in this? Right now, look, sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, right? So if that approach is working for you, then by all means continue it. It doesn't necessarily work for me. Like, for example, I got one over the weekend by somebody. I get them all the time. I get messages like this all the time. Hey there, I see you're a fan of Bob Proctor. I work with Bob and Linda. I'd love to connect with you and share what we have coming up that you may want to be interested in. And immediately I was like, what is this girl trying to sell me? What is this person trying to sell me? All right, and they say, oh no, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to share with you something. But if you're not interested in working with the prompters, that is perfectly fine as well. So there's just so many assumptions going on here. Basically, this person doesn't know what I want in general. Okay, so this person's just randomly messaging and trying to get a match. Okay, so that's one thing. So when we're messaging people cold on Facebook, the other thing I've heard people doing is I've heard that they're handing flyers out in shopping malls. Okay, like business cards. So they're actually standing in shopping malls and handing business cards out. Okay, or even going to the gym and seeing if business prospects are at the gym, like business prospects, and even trying to strike up a conversation with strangers in a coffee shop, okay, to see if they need help. All right, so they're all an example of push marketing, right? And the distinction of that is you going up to that person first. All right. So as I said, if that is working for you, if you're getting what you want out of that activity, then go for it. All right. Also cold calling, door knocking, any form of solicitation, is what we're talking about here. Now, as I said to you guys, I get kind of shivers up my spine at the thought of knocking on a stranger's door. So for me, I'm just not made to do these types of activities anyway. It's just way too frightening for me to do this stuff. All right. So what I have perfected as a result of that, as a result of my deep desire to not want to do any of this stuff, like really, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Okay. As a result of my deep desire not to do these things, I have really been perfecting pull marketing, right? It's what I teach people. I'm giving you some really good principles here. All right. This is pull marketing. This is where we basically want to have people reach out to us first. Okay. So what does that look like? Okay, what that looks like on the court is in a physical setting. That means going and doing talks, all right, going into it. Now, that might strike fear into your hearts as well, but, this is sort of going and doing talks or going to networking events is also an example of pulling people towards you. At the talk, you can talk about a subject matter that you're particularly good at, and then people will come over and say, hey, that sounds really interesting. I would like to know more. Is there any chance we could talk about it? Right? That's what you want. Okay. At a networking event, someone says, what do you do? Well, I help people do this. And this is the result that they can expect. And that would actually pique that person's interest. And the person would go, hey, you sound really interesting. That sounds really interesting. I'd like to know more. Can we talk about it? Okay. So that's an example of doing it in a physical setting. In an online setting though, how that works is actually doing posts on Facebook that are actually designed to hook people, catch their attention. It's the wrong word, hook, but catch their attention. Okay, so this is like when we drop some sort of a value bomb that basically stops that person in their tracks, all right? And that's kind of what you want to do. You want to be able to catch people's attention. Like, look at this, guys. I'm just going onto my wall here, and you might see a few of my friends like happily loved up there. All right, you think about what people are doing, and you're scrolling through the wall, and you go, okay, you like a few posts, and it's like really good. Then you just kind of keep flying past it. Okay, so as you're sort of scrolling past this wall, what you need is something that will stop people in their tracks. Okay, so here's an example of one here. So Ted McGrath, this happens to be an ad, but he's got attention coaches, consultants, and service-based business providers. How do I get high-paying clients consistently online? Download my swipe file and learn how to do this. Okay, so really, this is a perfect example of how it should be done, whether you're paying for it or not. Okay, you want to be able to put a post together that's designed to outline the problem and then bring forward some sort of solution. And then this is where the bridge to our funnels comes in here. So this is like a perfectly executed example of this concept that I'm talking about. Another thing that I like to call this is it's kind of like attracting bees to the honeypot. Like I actually call them honeypot posts, the honeypot, because the whole goal is to actually capture people's attention without talking to them first. Okay, so here's a great example of one here. This is like somebody talking about, a story. This is actually one of my clients. He's writing here a story about you know, his local community, something that's happened, and then he's got the moral of the story, happy wife, happy life, and then he's saying, hey, look, if anyone needs any help, give me a buzz. All right, that's perfect example of executing this implementation of this strategy. Plus, he has a really cool post here that looks really magical, and you kind of want to be a part of it. He's had a lot of success with these kinds of posts. Let's keep going here. Look at all these posts. See, out of all of this, a lot of this is kind of like a guy who's particularly good at this stuff is Benjamin Tyler. He was interviewed on John Lee Dumas's podcast a while ago, and he if you want to listen to it, look that episode up. And he basically talks about influencer marketing, how to attract people to you on Facebook and then have them reach out. But look, at the end of the day, definitely talk to Ben if you really want to go deep into this concept. But the whole point is basically placing value at the forefront of your strategy. Now, what I want you to know that a post on like a quote post is not particularly compelling. So if you're posting quotes, that is not what we consider thought leadership. That's basically you posting the thought leadership of someone else, all right? So where possible, you want to actually write a post about something that's you know something about, and make it about your value. Now, so many people get to this point and they're like afraid to give value because they feel like they're giving everything away for free. And there's an element of that, because at this point, all we want to do is have people stop in their tracks, see us as value, and see us as valuable, and then feel compelled to reach out. Okay, that's the actual, design of the honeypot post. The design is to have people reach out. Now, I'll show you how that worked over the weekend, right? I had someone reach out to me after a post that I made in a group. Okay, so I always put posts out, and sometimes when people are being really obvious about this, it's like really obvious. Some people go too far, and it's very obvious that they're just fishing for clients in groups. But if you're just adding value and leading with value, and people can see that, then usually this will have the result that you want. All right, so I had somebody reach out, and then there's a whole big line of messages, and they just said, look, I saw your post. I'd love to see if you can help me. And I guess that's really the example of the outcome you are looking for. All right, so once somebody sees your post here, then they see this, and then their outcome of this is that they reach out. Okay, so you can post in groups, Facebook groups. You can do this all over the net. You can do it in forums, etc., etc. Okay, now you want them to reach out to you via PM if possible. Okay, now the other thing you can do, like I showed you with Ted McGrath, is you can add your funnel bridge to the post. Okay, so when we don't have that on the post, that's an example of you're just sort of leaving people hanging off a cliff. All right, so say we've worked out that push marketing doesn't work, and we're tired of getting exhausted running around doing this stuff, and we've started doing our honeypot bee posts, our honeypot posts, and we're starting to have that sort of traction. People are starting to see the value and they're reaching out. Okay, so you've kind of got this piece of it to work on this puzzle. Right? Then the next piece of it is to add your funnel bridge to the post, which means that you can now take somebody on a journey post that one value piece. So that's the problem with these value pieces, is they're just instant. They're 10 seconds and it's gone, 10 seconds and it's gone. And then the bridge allows you to have some sort of continuous ongoing relationship with the person. And just think about it, like even for myself, when I see value online, I stop in my tracks. I go, wow, that looks really valuable. I listen to what they're saying, and then I go into their funnel and I find out more. And really what that involves is, as you guys are probably know, that there's an email opt-in, some form of sales presentation, And eventually there'll be some sort of sale waiting at the end of this funnel. But that's okay, because you can still get value in the middle of this bridge here. You know, people sort of come, you know, as far as they want to go. All right. I just feel like many times we shut this connection down because we're actually, you know, we're throwing our value out there online, but we don't have the bridge attached to it, which means that it's a missed opportunity. All right. So let's just talk about the distinction of this lesson again. Okay, so with push marketing, we are approaching first. Okay, now this is only problematic in the sense that you decrease the chances of the likelihood of that person is really interested in what you're doing. You have to get to a lot of people to find your gems amongst all those people. It's basically soliciting, because you're actually pushing yourself onto other people. And I'd say this would get fairly tired pretty quickly if this was your core strategy. All right. So moving away from that, you want to move into something more sophisticated online that doesn't involve just posting quotes or just messaging people cold on Facebook. What you want to do is you want to start basically creating honeypot posts that create the attention of people, position you as an expert. People see the value, they feel compelled to reach out, and they actually do reach out. Okay, so the outcome of this, if it's working properly, is you should have people reaching out to you, and if they're not doing that through they're just doing it themselves, reaching out saying, hey, I'd like to know more, then they're actually coming through your funnel bridge, which means that you're capturing emails, you know, 20 emails. What would 20 emails a week or a day do for your business? How would that change things? You know, maybe 5 people are seeing your offer, and then maybe you're making 1 sale. It's just, by then it's pure mathematics. I won't go so much into that today. It's not meant to be that. I was more trying to get you guys to see the bridge between these posts and what they're there for, and then how to have people continue on to that next level. And if you don't have this, if you don't have your funnel bridge, or you're just sending people to websites, or you're not asking people to message you, well, ultimately you're just leaving people hanging off a cliff with nowhere to go and no support and no help. And if you know, can you really be okay with that longer term? You know, particularly if your end goal is to help as many people as possible. Now, I'm not sure what you guys do, but this does not just apply to coaches. As I said, I started this off because it's been brought to my attention that many of the coaches in my world are doing this kind of stuff. You know, messaging cold people on Facebook. I don't know if that's not, there it is on there already. People are doing this stuff. You know, I want you guys to really consider, is that really working? And I want you to think about, if you're a service provider, ultimately you want more clients. If you're a local business, ultimately you want more customers. If you're a network marketer, then ultimately you want more signups. And if you're an e-commerce store, then ultimately you want more sales. So I know what you guys want. It's not like that's unclear, because I'm the same thing when I'm running my businesses. This is exactly what I want as well. But what I want you to do is to take the pressure off yourself on your goal. Forget your goal for a minute. Start thinking about the audience, and start thinking about what kind of things they're dealing with, and how you can basically put these concepts up onto places like social media where all these people are congregating, and then have people see it, stop in their tracks, know immediately they want to know more, and they reach out to you, or they come through your funnel. Okay, that's the strategy in its simplest steps. Okay, guys, I hope that helps you guys. I'd love to know your opinions. Please put a comment in the post or wherever you're seeing this. Please let us know what you think. You know, if you've tried this before and haven't got it to work, you know, what is it that hasn't been working? You know, give us an idea of what challenges you face. Maybe you've been able to see that it works differently. Or tell me, you know, just be honest with yourself. You know, are you doing this push marketing, you know, and how does it feel doing this stuff? You know, how does it feel handing out flyers while everyone's trying to get Christmas presents and you're trying to get clients? So anyway, all right, let us know what your thoughts are. Have an amazing day, guys. I'll talk to you all soon. Okay, bye for now. Peace out.